There's a lot to get unpack here because I have a lot of opinions about Halo specifically. I am still feeling a type of way, Fuzzy Belvedere, that this is a flagship IP. Okay, I'm sorry, folks. I know maybe Halo doesn't mean that much to you. I'm not going to fight you on it if you feel otherwise. But let me just say this: Halo is Xbox. Xbox is Halo. That's it, right? That is the main crux of this conversation. So, what am I talking about? Well, we have a tweet here. We got some information from gaming.bo3.gg. And of course, if you know anything about Halo, I'm sure you follow Rebs Gaming. And that guy's ear to the floor when it comes to Halo is very sound. Like, he hears every rumor, every theory. He puts his stuff out there on a regular basis. Well, this is what this tweet says, folks. It says Halo Studios teases a big announcement for late 2025. And it goes on to say the source is Rebs Gaming, known as a Halo insider, claims that a Halo World Championship reveal is happening later this year in October. Allegedly, a Halo Studios dev hinted at major news coming at the Dallas Open event in October, possibly next generation Halo game, Master Chief Collection 2.0, or Halo on PlayStation. Okay, so this is Fuzzy. This is one of those, we got to take some time to unpack this. So the Halo, let's address the Halo on PlayStation, folks. Here's the thing, it's happening. I know people are going to be in their fields when it does. I think you're going to see a lot of PlayStation gamers. Now, let me be clear here. I talked about this last week. I believe you were with me, Fuzzy. There is a stark, clear as day difference from a PlayStation gamer to an effing troll that does their content hitting on Xbox for views, clicks, and likes. A PlayStation gamer, which we have several in this chat now, are welcome because they're gamers and they game on PlayStation. And guess what, ladies and gentlemen? That is absolutely okay. Not a problem. But Fuzzy, there is a difference from people taking something like Halo, and it is a storied franchise for Xbox. It has always been on Xbox. It has been on PC. It's never been on Switch, and it might be, and it's never been on PlayStation. And recently, we've seen games like Forza on your screen in front of you that have made their way over and have done really well on PlayStation. I think that Gears of War Reloaded is going to kill it in the top 10. I'd even dare say the top 3 best-selling games on PlayStation in August when it releases, because they've never had Gears of War, and it is right up their alley. If they are third-person, over-the-shoulder, story-driven adult-type games, Gears of War is going to win on PlayStation. Now, Halo, on the other hand, is I guess that still stings. It's because it is a storied Xbox exclusive. I don't think that it's going to land this year, but then again, I could be 1,000% wrong. Before we get into Halo and the championships later in October and what could possibly show up in regards to a single player story-driven Halo game at this year's Xbox Showcase, I kind of want to just get in front of this and address if you think Halo, the Master Chief Collection, Halo Infinite, the single player, or even Halo Infinite, the multiplayer, makes its way over to PlayStation in 2025.
That's a tough one. Like, I think they might wind up following a similar pathway that they're doing with Gears. I don't think Infinite is the one that goes over. Because of it being the slip space engine, I don't know how difficult that might be in comparison. Although, because some of the stuff for Master Chief Collection was already done in Unreal, well, mainly the UI and some other bits here and there as far as menus and other stuff, that might be the first thing to go over, if anything is to go over. Like, it, I know there's still the debate if Halo still goes over or full slate and all that, but I think it's something along the lines of something from the Master Chief Collection goes over. Now, does the whole Master Chief Collection go over, or do they break it up kind of like what we're seeing, what they're doing with Gears, where it's, Gears 1 Reloaded, and then
That's a
probably
great
Gears
point.
2 and so forth.
Yes.
I don't think they want to overload the PlayStation base. Plus, it might lead to more chaos in the sense of multiplayer, because when you have, even though the multiplayer can be integrated to some extent, you want to have them focus around the multiplayer for that first part or that second part or that third part, so it doesn't divvy up or reduce the pool that they're pulling from in general for some of the maps and things along those lines. So I think they get something from the Master Chief Collection that's been revamped or coded over so it will play on the PlayStation. I don't know if Infinite ever goes over. Just like I said, slip space. They're wanting, like, current leadership wants to move away from the legacy engine as much as possible and go with something that they know that they can hire talent on a regular basis that are familiar with it. And that was probably the biggest Achilles heel prior to the leadership change, is that going with that proprietary engine and using what do they call them, like contractors and stuff. You spend
Ridiculous.
a certain amount of time to train them on that engine that only you use. Then once they're familiar with it, their contract's about to expire. And do you hire them or do you renew the contract? Half the time it seemed like they didn't renew the contract. And it wasn't necessarily that the contractor was a bad coder or anything like that. It was just the numbers game at that point, as far as, well, if we lay these off or don't renew the contract and only renew the contract for these people, then maybe we can continue on. But not knowing that that legacy software, or not software, but the engine itself was the biggest problem as far as onboarding developers for it. I think that's where, anything going over the PlayStation is probably going to be Unreal based, just for ease of use or ease of porting. But like I said, I think something from Master Chief Collection goes over, maybe a first part or one particular game, and from there they'll release maybe every 6 months a new series or a new title, or maybe every year they release a new title going over, up until when the latest and greatest Halo, whatever comes after Infinite, when that comes out, maybe it goes day and date. Maybe it waits until they get caught up on Master Chief Collection. We shall see, but I think that's what PlayStation gets, kind of like looking at the Gears roadmap in that regard. I think they'll follow a similar deal. It was a little bit harder to do that with something like Forza, because with Horizon licensing, you can't really go back to the older ones and then renew the licensing when you already have the licensing that you can extend on 5. So I think that's the only reason why PlayStation got that jump. Plus, if you're going to give them Horizon, you might as well give them, the one that was that 4 years old at that point that you're getting ready to replace and stuff like that. But with Halo and Gears, a little bit different. Give them a good storyline as far as some of the lore that they're not going to be familiar with. Get them on board to where a lot of Xbox fans are. Get them caught up, let's just say. And then that's when, you start giving them the older titles over that are easier to port. And then maybe they get the newer title once they get caught up. But we'll see.
You know what's interesting? You made mention of Halo Infinite. Well, here's my opinion. But regardless of the slip space engine, which I thought was excellent, apparently very difficult to deliver to develop for, which is odd because they literally complained about having to work harder on the last engine, and then they get to slip space and it's just as difficult. I don't. That's why. Look, I'm gonna be honest with you. You know how I feel about Phil Spencer. I think he's one of the best guys in the industry. I still hold some ill will to the way 343 just imploded. Like, the leadership there is just. I know they're under new management, right? And I know that they are far removed from where they were a couple of years ago. But I just get so. I mean, Chad, am I the only one that's still kind of pissed that this franchise was left to die on the vine? It almost seemed like it was disattached Xbox Game Studios. Oh, there's everything else, and there's Halo. We don't talk to those guys. Like, I cannot believe that it just got that bad where they made this engine. Apparently, it was $500 million worth of investment, and it just they're not using it. They're going to Unreal Engine 5. Okay, fine. I just hope that, listen, I don't care about it going to PlayStation. I did 18 months ago, but I've come to, again, I don't like it. I would never sign off on it, but I also understand the business, so it is what it is. Regarding Halo Infinite going over there, I think you're onto something, not just because of the Slipspace engine. That game is incomplete. And I don't mean that to be disrespectful. I mean that there was a lot of story that was left out of that game. We still don't know what happened to Locke. We still don't know what happened to Team Osiris. We still don't know what happened. There is so much of the Covenant storyline that we don't have. That game is just one of my favorites in the series. There's no doubt about it. It's certainly one of my favorites in the multiplayer.
Mhm.
We have to move on. We're just never going to get a completion of what they did in Infinite. So now we move on to, let's talk about what could show up this Sunday. Now, Halo Studios, which is the newly founded 343 Studios, a lot of that team are new. A lot
Mhm.
of the the people making the decisions are different from 343, which is great. But here we're getting into the skinny, because look, they've been cooking for a while, right? We've heard some rumors of some side projects. I've already pitched one. No one has called me from Microsoft. PS, by the way, very disappointed about that. Halo Studios. I have a great horror themed, game. I sign me up with the rookie salary. It's fine. I don't even need the big salary. I'll take the rookie entrance fee. It's fine. Look, all jokes aside, I think if I'm putting this show together, and there is nothing I could tell Tina Amini that she needs to hear from Mr. BoomStick XL. Nobody, right? She's been doing such an insane job since she's come over to Xbox. Every show, regardless of scope, size, and scale, she puts out on with her and her team, just turns out to be brilliant. It just turns out to be so freaking good, right? So I don't think I could give her any advice. But if we are now, again, we're in 2025, Fuzzy Belvedere, we are rolling into what? 2026 again. No mathematicians here, folks, but it is the 25th anniversary of Master Chief, of the Halo platform. It's the 20th anniversary of Gears of War. I don't know if there's an anniversary around the corner for Forza, but I got to tell you, folks, I understand Xbox went third party and a lot of people are still in their feels. A lot of people were soured by the brands. And again, no names. We don't do that here. And that's okay. They could be soured. They can move on to other consoles, PC platform. It's fine. But my God, ladies and gentlemen, would it be one F of a show if you got Gears of War E-Day gameplay? Look, I'm getting goosebumps. I don't know about you. Get ready, folks. You get a Forza Horizon 6 reveal in Japan. This is hopes and dreams now, folks. Releasing this year, again, hopes and dreams. And to round out this unbelievable Banana Boat Sunday is a new Halo game and again, I don't really care if it's just Halo Combat Evolved redone in Unreal Engine 5 or it's something else. Because I think next year that has to be the game that releases, because it's celebrating the 25th anniversary of Chief. Why wouldn't you go back to the well and redo Combat Evolved in Unreal Engine 5? I don't know where you go from here, Fuzzy Belvedere. I know it is
Mhm.
a monster-sized steak I just dropped onto your plate, but I think you're hungry
Mhm.
and you're going to chew on this. Take it away.
Yeah, I would love to see the announcement be, maybe uh, some gameplay or some in-engine stuff for Halo, much like they did when they announced the whole slip space thing, the previous generation. Um, I would say this would be the time to kind of give us some insight. I know they did that before when they did the name change from 343 into Halo Studios, but they can go a little bit further because they were doing mainly like I guess you could say stills and some environmental stuff, but go a bit further, maybe showing some of the combat or even like what they did with the first introduction to slip space with the wildlife and stuff like that for the in engine stuff. I think that we get to see some of that between the tournament or the showcase. I think that's where they start. Now they could also like I like your horror idea where it's like the basically a ring infested by the flood or something along those
Yes.
lines. Like I think if they were able to turn something like that around in the reasonable amount of time, because they've been working on stuff prior to the leadership changes and things, and it feels like this new leadership is a little more open to some of the suggestions. Like, remember, we heard the stories that like the um, almost like a Helldivers mode was pitched and shot down prior to the leadership change. It kind of feels like they might be more open to something along those lines, or open to like a horror, a space horror mode or game that they may have passed over in the past. So I think we get to see either the next Halo title franchise numbered, well, not numbered, but like next title, at least the intro of the environment. But I think we might get to see a little bit more, whether it's a highlight on something similar to what they've been doing with the Forge mode, where a lot of the creators have been making something like a Helldivers mode in there. Maybe
Yep.
it's an actual, Halo Studios, type of mode or collaboration, and making it more of a I guess you could say button down or polished mode itself type of thing. So I think we get to see something. I know Will said something earlier in one of the super chats, but I
Oh
at some point
no! Don't do it.
at some point we'll see if this announcement or these hints are going to eventually come true. But I think we do get to see something, whether it's in engine stuff in Unreal, a little bit more detail, whether it's the combat or something like that. Because I know there's a good bit of people that are concerned with Unreal not feeling like Halo, but I considering Microsoft first party studios and how vested they are in Unreal, it's weird. Sony
Yeah.
actually invested in Unreal, but they're using it for movies instead of games, and Xbox is using it mainly for their games. They're becoming the experts in getting the games to play right, be optimized, and have unbelievable visuals without it being an extreme cost on performance. So I would say that Halo Studios should be able to put those concerns at rest, as far as by just showing a quick combat, in engine type of demo or something along those lines. But I think that's what we get to see either at the tournament or the showcase, or maybe both type of deal. But yeah, it's time. It's time for us to see something from them, and I know they've been cooking for a bit. So yeah, looking forward to it.
So let's just, because we have a couple of minutes left, I kind of want to just focus our thoughts and our theories onto the Halo World Championships happening in Dallas, Texas in October. So,
Mhm.
me personally, just reading the room, I don't think that there would be a single player announcement there. What I'm kind of wondering, because you said they've been cooking, so we know that they're
Mhm.
doing something. There's again, this is all rumors, folks, and I think it will all be cleared up on Sunday, or potentially leading up to Sunday, about what Halo Studios is doing. I personally think that the rumored Halo Combat Evolved in Unreal Engine 5 is happening. I think that is what is going to be shown. I don't know if any of the, quote unquote, rumored Halo side projects will be a part of what they do at the showcase. Though I do have some thoughts, because as great as I personally think Halo Infinite multiplayer is, and I have well over 20 days in it, and I continue. I haven't been back in a while since since Call of Duty, but I absolutely adore it. It's one of my favorite Halo multiplayers in the entire series. It used to be 3, and that has been replaced with Infinite. So Infinite is still running the subspace engine. What if this big announcement is a new Halo multiplayer? And again, folks, I'm just spitballing here. Running on Unreal Engine 5, and it is launched on every console. It's coming to PC, it's coming to Xbox, coming to Switch, and it's coming to, of course, PlayStation 5, at, regular and Pro, and it's a free to play. And I think that that kind of announcement is the kind of announcement that again, I don't really get soured anymore. Just is what it is.
Mhm.
Xbox games are going to PlayStation, folks. That's just the way it is. But I got to be honest with you. A free to play multiplayer that is launched across the board, meaning that everyone is getting it. And I don't know if that's this year or it's next year, but I think that that could really, really bring back the Halo multiplayer madness, if you will, to mainstream gamers. And if it's multiplayer and it's multi platformed, there's going to be a lot of people playing this game. And again, we don't know what they've been cooking, but I don't think it's going to be Halo Infinite multiplayer. I just think that that bridge has sailed. I
Yeah.
think they sunset that at some point with this new Halo multiplayer. Let's get your thoughts on that theory.
I would not be surprised if they do that. Like that would make sense. Now we've been joking about the Trojan horse deal. That would be an
Yep.
easy way to go up the charts and take another top 3 or top 5 position on the PlayStation store, as well as with Switch 2 launching. If it's something that can launch on the Switch 2 as well, that's going to be something for the multiplayer aspect that will probably chart well for them as well. Uh, it makes sense. I mean, Unreal Engine 5 is what they wanted to move to, considering they can get more and more devs, whether they be contractors or new hires, to be on board or at least be familiar with the engine without having to, reteach, each and every new hire how to use it. So,
Yep.
hey, having that multiplayer, as long as they have some decent modes, maybe they do have like a Hell Divers mode, maybe they do have a battle royale, or maybe they have an extraction shooter type mode. Mix a few of those in there. Yeah, I think that would be an easy way for Halo to be charting pretty much across the board at that point. Like I know there's a lot of people that may feel that Halo has lost its luster to some extent, whether it's due to the slow content rollout for when with Infinite's multiplayer and things along those lines. But doing it this way, I think that they've learned from those mistakes, and with that learning and having it available everywhere, I think if you can get more people up there on other platforms playing, that's where you can have your console war at that point. See if some of the Xbox gamer tags are still charting at the top of the list type of deal, and how long it may take PlayStation to even get on that board. Although there are some PlayStation players that used to play on Xbox that
Yeah.
might be able to hold their own as well, or quite a few PC people that are out there as well. But I think that would be the new console war would be on the battlefield for that multiplayer. That would be pretty awesome. Launched on Switch, on PlayStation, and Xbox all at the same time, and PC. Yeah. Although I know as I say that, there are going to be some people who be like, well, I want to turn off crossplay. Okay. Maybe they allow that on Xbox and PlayStation or on the consoles, because let's be real, mouse and keyboard is pretty deadly at times. But aside from that, have it everywhere, have at it, and console war on the battlefield. That'd be about the best way to have it.
I mean, look, honestly, I think if you're going to put your best foot forward when it comes to releasing Halo on PlayStation, I think that there's a possibility. I actually don't even think it's the Master Chief Collection personally. I just don't. I can see next year Halo Combat Evolved remake, remastered, a 25th anniversary edition launching everywhere. I think it'll launch on Switch, it'll launch on PC, on Xbox, and on PS5. Again, new console, I mean, new slate, right? New game, remade from the ground up, very similar in scope and scale when with the mindset when it comes to okay, they're putting Gears of War, the original, on to PlayStation as well. Reloaded is launching across the board. I actually think it's going to launch on Switch too. Again, this is just my thoughts, and I think if you're going to do that, that's what you do. You take the story, you take the base game, the original game that started it all back in 2001, remade for modern consoles, and you release it on everywhere, right? That's how you get in. Second half of that conversation, I think that it makes perfect sense. If you listen, of the three bigs, who is doing multiplayer, free to play, and gas games better? That's Xbox, ladies and gentlemen. Um, PlayStation doesn't. It's not even a close second. It's not even remotely close. They have Helldivers, MLB The Show. What else? Nothing. And I'm not even going to bring Nintendo in because good luck, Charlie Brown. They got nothing, right? So if we're going to see Microsoft continue their trend with multiplayer and a multi-platform release schedule, that's going to, in my opinion, that's how you do it. You bring a new Halo, which is an old Halo remade to celebrate your 25th anniversary. It goes everywhere. Everyone loves it. Again, PlayStation players, not trolls, who might have been Xbox fans, are going to buy it. It's going to be an Xbox Game Pass for anyone that's a subscriber. Winner, chicken dinner. In regards to the big announcement, that's again, it's rumored for the Dallas, Texas Halo Championships in October. I personally think that it's not going to be Halo Infinite for a multitude of reasons. I think it's going to be a brand new, from the ground up, Unreal Engine 5 multiplayer that is going to and should launch across everything. Because then what you're doing is putting two new games onto everywhere. You have your single player. People that want to buy Halo can go buy it. People that are going to play it through their service can do so. And a free-to-play game, a Halo game, again, redone from the ground up, man, that sounds like a winning combination for me. And again, I don't advocate for the whole third party thing, folks. I just have accepted it. It just is what it is.